Hey there folks, today I'd like to take a casual peek into the Marvel Superhero Mashers Captain America action figure set from Hasbro. This is a basic class superhero masher set and was first available near the end of 2013 as part of the first wave of releases. And this set sold at most mass retailers for about $10. I got this set in 2014 when I purchased this set and another set at a Walmart, and using a coupon that was affixed to the packaging here, I was able to pretty much pay about $7 for this set. Taking a closer peek at the Star-Spangled Superhero here in masher form, pretty interesting. Now, mashers one of the features of the line is that you can take parts of the figures and interchange them with other masher sets to create your unique own superhero, I guess you could say. And that's pretty much described in this illustration here of a mashed up superhero. You can see Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk there, Iron Man, all mashed together into a very unique looking figure. And this basic set here is of Captain America, and you can see Cap right there with his arms and legs I guess removed to show the mashability features of this set. And you could also see he comes with an accessory, his ever iconic shield there. And I believe that this particular set does not include any other accessories, such as the deluxe sets, which have extra accessories. Here we have the back of the packaging, and we have another mashed up version of a hero here, primarily Cap, on there. And you also have a numbering here to show which sets these parts have come from. And you can see also here on the right hand side the heroes. Of course, we have Captain America there, and Hulk, which is the arm, and Iron Man, which is a leg here, and Iron Patriot, which was the other leg. So pretty interesting mashup there. So we're gonna go ahead and be right back and have this Captain America out of the packaging. Okay, we're back, and we have Cap here out of the packaging. And before we get into this particular figure, I do want to mention that I really like this action figure line. It's primarily for a younger demographic, but this particular figure line I have a bit of an affinity for because of the design aesthetic and the playability, and it reminds me a lot of two particular action figure lines that I was a big fan of. And in fact, I'm leaning to believe that it may be the same designers of these two previous action figure lines. And those action figure lines are the earlier G.I. Joe Sigma 6 line and the even earlier Zevos action figure line. Looking at this Cap, it really evokes those two previous action figure lines, and as far as look and also design and playability. And I guess I have a natural affinity to these superhero master lines because of those two previous action figure lines. And just for a quick comparison, I just wanted to show off the similarities between the superhero masters and their earlier Hasbro action figures. First up, we're going to compare this Captain America to the Zevos, which I believe is the same designers of these superhero masters. And we have here an Alpha Ranger. Here, it's a little bit smaller. This is about 5 inches here, and while Cap here is about 6 inches. Now, the look is not as quite similar between the two, although the hard lines and sculpting on the figures are there. But the main similarity between these two figures is the interchangeability. With the Superhero Masters line, you have parts that you can interchange, such as parts of the leg, parts of the arm, the head, and that's where the Zevos line here, which was released in early 2000s, comes into play. The Zevos line has, using ball socket joints, interchangeability in amongst all of the parts. You can swap out legs, arms, torsos to a even more degree than the Superhero Master line. But you can see where the similarities are in the design due to the interchangeability of parts. Also, you can see that there are ports throughout this figure where you can attach accessories, which is very similar to the Zevos line here. You can see all the peg joints, peg holes here, primarily square. But you can see where that's very similar on here. So I believe that the designers of the Superhero Master line have taken cues, or are actually the same designers of the Zevos line here. And the designers of the Zevos line did continue work within Hasbro, but through the G.I. Joe Sigma 6 line. And the G.I. Joe Sigma 6 line is where it's very, very similar to the Superhero Masters line as far as sculpting wise and aesthetic. And I don't have a Sigma 6 figure out of the package available at the moment. Most of my figures are in storage, but I do have one that's still in package, and I'll just do a real quick comparison here. Now, the G.I. Joe Sigma 6 line is a lot larger in scale. It's about 8 inches in scale, but if you look at this particular figure here of Grand Slam, if I can get it into the frame here, you could see right away the design aesthetic in the sculpt is very, very similar. You have those hard lines, a very bulky look compared to a more realistic figure. They're very similar. Even the design of the eyes, it's hard to see because this particular figure has goggles, but the design of the eyes are even very similar. And you got the bulky arms and just slightly exaggerated features, very stylized features there. They're very similar. Even looking at a similar joint design on the elbow here, and the musculature on the arm compared to the Sigma 6. Just leads me to believe that these may be the same designers working on these products, or have taken cues from the G.I. Joe Sigma 6. So, very cool. Even the Sigma 6 here even has the ports where you can attach accessories onto the figure. So, very cool, and I'm not surprised why I'm a bit of a fan of these Superhero Masters. They just evoke some nostalgia within me concerning the aesthetic and the playability of the figure. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a closer peek at Cap here. And it's a pretty cool figure. Again, very stylized take compared to a more realistic take to other Hasbro figures such as Marvel Legends or the movie figures. But very bulky in look, and this is pretty cool. Again, this is primarily designed for a younger demographic, so the stylized features here almost have an animated feel to it, which is pretty cool. And just for size comparisons with other Hasbro action figures, I do have a Captain America from the movie Avengers line, and you could see that this particular Cap is about the same size on here. Now, as opposed to the Marvel Legends or movie Avengers, where scale is, I guess, dependent. They have different sizes of different figures, like the Hulk is a lot larger than Cap in the movie Avengers line. I believe the Marvel Superhero Masters line are not strict on scale, and I believe they're designed around the 6-inch scale. So I don't have it yet, but I believe the Hulk figure may be about the same size as Cap here, if not just a little bit larger or bulkier. So, but that's something to keep in mind. But looking at just some of the details on this particular Cap, very stylized take to it, especially with the bulkiness and hard lines on the sculpt. And you can see here Cap has a pretty stern expression. And we have a Cap here with the wingtips on the sides of the head that are not simply part or drawn or painted on, but it is actually kind of sculpted on there. You can see it there coming out of the head there. And the paint quality on these figures is pretty good. Not too much bleed, but you have to look at these figures. There are some paint errors on some of these figures, not too much, but concerning the eyes, the placement of the paint on the eyes, something to be aware of, and some paint slop in some areas. But this particular figure is pretty well painted. You can take a look at the rest of the figure here. It is very cool, very stylized star on the torso here. And you got the red, white, and blue color scheme of Cap here. Very neat. And we also have his shield. The only accessory included with this particular figure set. This is a basics, I guess, scale set that I really don't have too many accessories. It's basically just the figure and maybe one or two accessories. In this case, it's the shield for Cap. And you can see the shield here is very well done in the paint, no bleed whatsoever from one color to the next or paint slop. It's just very clean, very nice. And underneath on this side you can see they even did some sculpting detail on there, which is cool. And then you see the pegs and peg holes for attaching to various body parts or other accessories. Which is pretty cool. You can mount the shield on the back of Cap here on a peg hole, if I can push it in. There you go. So that's kind of neat on there. Or if you want to put it on his arm, you can do that. Or his leg if you want to. And that's, I guess, the purpose of the design of the peg holes throughout the body and for this particular line. And you can see, taking a look at the rest of Cap here, he's got some nice paint detail here on the belt and the buckle there. It's not too bad. And looking at the arms here, very bulky arms, and they have a gripping hand here and a fist here, although there's a peg hole where you can attach an accessory from another set if you wanted to. Which is kind of neat. You could probably attach the shield on there. There's probably some clearance for the shield. Yeah, you can attach it onto there if you wanted to. So, pretty neat. Moving down to the lower half of the figure, you have the leggings and the boots on there. Pretty plain, and these aren't painted. It's actually cast in these colors. Although I think the boots may be painted a little bit on there, so on the lower leg. So pretty cool. You got the stylization going on with very bulky calves and legs here and hard lines on the sculpt. Just really does evoke the imagery from previous Hasbro figures of the Zevos and Sigma 6. Very, very cool. Now the main feature of the Superhero Masters is, of course, the interchangeability of parts. And we're going to go through all of the parts that are detachable from each other, so you can actually interchange it with other figure sets, master sets. First up, we have the head. which you can pull apart on there. You can see the joint pin there that's common throughout most of the figure there. And so you can pull off the head. On the figures here, you can pull off the lower arms off of there. You can see again the peg system there and the peg holes there. So you can actually pull off the lower arms here. Now I believe you cannot pull off the upper arms at all. I tried pulling and they don't come off. So I think they're meant to be attached to the upper torso here. And you can also pull off the entire leg off the figure here, off the torso I should say, and you have again that peg joint there. And then you can actually pull apart the leg into upper and lower parts as well. So that's kind of cool. One thing I'm kind of bummed about is that you cannot separate the upper and lower torso. I think that would have been really neat on here and also on the line in general. One, I think it would add an added point of articulation, a waist twist, but this whole torso is just one piece here. So would have been nice to have, like say, right above the belt, I guess one of those pegs here to provide a waist articulation, also to interchange the upper and lower torso between sets. That would have been really, really nice. But unfortunately that's not the case. One thing I do also have a gripe with is the actual articulation point at the elbow here. I think it would have been better if they actually had the peg on the lower arm and plugged it into the upper arm itself, because the way it's currently designed with the peg on the upper arm, you do not have any articulation going around on the arm. You're restricted to basically turning the arm around on there, so there's no swivel joint articulation on the arm. But that's sort of a minor complaint, because you could still pose the figure in a variety of poses due to the way these are designed. Whoops, excuse me. Trying to put the head back in here. That's not. Oh, there we go. It's not being friendly there. Okay, going over the articulation of this figure as it is. You saw earlier all those pegs and that provide swivel articulation, but there's also some hinges as well on these figures. Starting with the head can go all the way around, as well as up quite a bit, and downwards a little bit, so that's kind of cool. The arms at the shoulders can go all the way around, as well as out about that much, and inwards about that much. There is a hinged swivel joint, of course you saw earlier on the elbow, so you can bend the arm about that much inwards and that far extended, and there is a swivel around that elbow here, so you can basically turn the lower arm around. No articulation at the wrist on there. That's not too bad there. There is no articulation at the torso, either at the mid-torso or the waist. So, like I said, the torso is all one piece. Now, the legs can go upwards about that much, down and back, yeah, even this further back, so that's kind of nice, and can go outwards as well. And due to the peg joint at the top of the thigh, you can twist the leg all the way around, which is cool. The knee has a hinged and swivel joint, so you can bend the knee that far back and extend it this much here, as well as turn the lower leg at the knee, so that's kind of cool. Now the feet have a nicely designed joint, bald hinged swivel joint here, where you can bend the foot upwards about that much and downwards about that much, and you can rotate the foot all the way around. And when you do rotate it around, there is a pivot, I guess, articulation point due to where the peg is going into the foot as opposed to going into the leg. So that's kind of cool, where it provides that natural ankle pivot there. So overall, it's just a really great figure, primarily designed for younger folks, but for those young at heart, such as myself, it's just a real treat, especially seeing that the design work continues on from previous Hasbro lines that I've been a big fan of over the years. And to see it in this new Superhero Masters line is just a real treat for myself. And I plan to continue picking up figures from this line. I just really like the design aesthetic and the playability of this figure. This is my casual peek into the Superhero Masters Captain America action figure set by Hasbro. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.